people deluded. Now, I can't speak for everyone, but in life, hold, let me fix that tiny bit. Sorry, people. In life, I believe you need balance in it. There's half truths in every lie. There's a lie in every truth, sort of thing. I believe in perspective. You see it in a lot of my videos. In regards to Unai Emery and his defending, now obviously he needs time to get the team, not just in what I'm referring to defensively, get them the way he wants to play, all under his ethos, sort of thing. He needs to do a lot of things, so we need to give him credit. I mean, give him slack. Sorry, he's just joined the club as well, more or less. He's been here 7, maybe 8 months. That's a long time in football, but at the same time, it's not a long time to implement how you want to play, the changes, and we know Arsenal's a special case. We also know a lot of the defenders, we have to discount a lot because they're just simply between not good enough, between continuously making the wrong decision and just having no responsibility. So I believe it's 50-50. Now, in Arsenal's case, you're probably a bit, well, we all know it's more the players than Unai Emery to a degree, in the sense that you've probably got more patience for Unai Emery and his outlook on defending than the players, or do you get what I'm saying, people? We know Mustafi is prone to mistakes. We know Koscielny, sadly, his body's breaking down in regards to competing at the top level. Socrates has been alright on the large scale of things, but he hasn't. Let's keep it true. He's probably made some individual errors. We know we've made a lot of individual errors. In fact, collectively as a team, not to name drop people, whether that's being slow to engage, whether that's midfield runners. The thing that really annoys me the most is midfield runners, because people always talk about, and rightly so, when it's Ozil. As much as I love Torreira, midfield runners, Xhaka as well, fullbacks allowing runners from midfield. There's an issue with that. Playing people on side consistently. Bellerin and Maitland-Niles are the first people that come to mind. Are marking over set pieces. So there's a lot that we need to introduce or implement to a better standard. And like I said, we need players, but I'm sorry, but a lot of that's on the coaching. I'm sorry, but Unai Emery, as much as I love him and what he's doing, and don't get twisted, people, he's got my support. On a broad basis, general basis, you're struggling to see what he's trying to do with the team. And what I mean by that is clearly you're seeing it. He's trying to make us a tiny bit defensive. He clearly favours a compact midfield, a rigid outlook on the team. The fullbacks provide the width. The strikers are almost individual brilliance. We play some lovely work set pieces, whether they're short or long. And we're devastating on the counter-attack, like you ironically saw for our goal in the defeat against Manchester United. Best case scenarios of the count was probably Leicester and Fulham, and there's been several other times. I'm sure Chelsea as well. Both times against Chelsea, both legs. I'm sorry. What we scored at the bridge, right? I could be wrong on that, but counter to devastating effect. So it's there. I see what he's trying to bring, but I have to. You guys know I love culture, so I have to wonder, what are they doing in training? Like, what are they doing in training? With Unai Emery as well, he did say once that he prefers to win 5-4 versus 1-0, and so far I've only seen a playing style to suggest that it could only be 1-0, because I like that he's pragmatic and it works at times, but at times I think he caters too much to the opposition. It's a difficult one against United, for instance, because I believe he went for it, he played a strong team, but when you're seeing Aubameyang on the flanks, yes, we need that, because if you look on Aubameyang was on the right hand side, you obviously saw Shaw and Alexis. Shaw is a very good attacking fullback. Alexis is obviously an attacker. Maitland-Niles is in a fullback. You can see how someone could be doubled up against. So Aubameyang's pace on the flanks gave Shaw something to work on, or think about, better yet. So I get it, but I just feel he probably caters a bit too much to the opposition, and it's cost us in a couple of games. Look at the difference between, obviously there's other factors, but look at the difference between how we played against Liverpool at home and how we played at away. Again, there's differences. We play slightly better in big games at home, but what I mean by that is we was aggressive consistently, versus against Liverpool, he thought a bit too much about the opposition. Yeah, Maitland-Niles scored and things like that, and I'm not saying you can't think about the opposition, but if you look at Maitland-Niles and Bellerin, they weren't defensive. Maitland-Niles was providing width, but we was respecting them a bit too much. But back to the main point, if you can praise him for the ball playing and what he's implementing, then you have to critique what he's not. Again, the players have to take the blame, but what are we doing in regards to defensiveness? Because we press from the front, but we don't press consistently enough. And every time we do in games like Chelsea and whatnot, where the stakes are high, but consistently we're not pressing together. So the first line of attack is the first line of defense. I mean, the attack can obviously disrupt moves and things like that. Look at the goal United scored, Lingard. I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, people, Lacazette lost the ball. Again, I can't remember, check the tactical review. Either way, someone loses the ball. You can see several players walking back, literally walking. Look at Maitland-Niles as well for whatever goal it was. I can't remember. Whatever goal it was where Mustafi, I think it was the second, people. I think it was the second because for Lingard's, because Mustafi had two men and stuff like that. Mustafi didn't cover himself with any glory, but Maitland-Niles isn't there, so we're slow to track back. Midfield runners, it doesn't matter if it's like Mane against Liverpool at the Emirates, where he checked in from the flanks and came inside, or if it's again Jesse Lingard like United, or Firmino and Lingard. If you go and look at the goals they both scored against us, they're doing it with combination with their other teammates. It's 3-4 passes. This is on the manager as well. Like, the players need to. Don't get me wrong. I'm not excusing the players. I'm harder on the players because obviously it's Unai Emery's first season, and that the players, regardless of coaching and tactics, you need to learn how to think. And I don't think we have the best thinkers collectively, regardless of ability. But what are we doing defensively? I'm seeing the same old errors. I'm not really seeing us look any closer to being solid. Again, we haven't got the calibre of centre half, so it's capped. But I at least would like to see how we're shaping up, or if it makes sense, people. If we're making mistakes and stuff, but at least I could sit there and say, all right, cool. Mustafi wasn't doing that 2 weeks ago. He's now, at least he tried to cover. At least he weren't playing people on side. Do you see what I'm saying, people? And obviously, every goal a team concedes, you can analyse it, because every team will concede goals and every team will believe he shouldn't have conceded goals. But at least in Arsenal's case, it feels like we just concede some cheap goals that could have been avoided. Even United at Old Trafford, Kolar, Leno, Socrates, not Koscielny, I'm sorry if it was Koscielny, it could have even been Mustafi. I can't remember the personnel, but look at the goal. What was it to make it 2-2 or whatnot? Where the obviously Kolar made the mistake with a poor back pass, but it was a combination of errors. You consistently see these sort of things, so I have to wonder what they're doing in training, because again, as much as I get onto the players, and as much as I cut Unai Emery some slack because it's his first season, we're still reacting. We're still reacting defensively. We're not proactive defensively. What I mean by that is, do you see what I'm saying? Press people, mark people. Midfielders thinking, okay, cool, my partner's gone, let me drop back, like you saw against Again, I'm so sure, I can't remember the goal, but whatever goal against United, Shaw takes it off the edge of his area. He plays it out to, I can't remember who he played it out to. He plays it out to someone and they counter-attack, and that's literally the goal. Again, check the tactical review that I did in regards to that game. But you see what I'm saying, people? I see an improvement in defensively, or not even an improvement in our willingness to defend properly sporadically in games like cut us some slack. I'll cut us some slack. Liverpool at home, Spurs at home. Who else is there? Obviously Chelsea at home as well. You're seeing the pattern that it's all home games, but that's what I feel, people. And I honestly feel it doesn't matter what defenders you buy. Even if you was to go out there and get the two best centre halves in the world. Off the top of my head, they're not. It's debatable, but the two centre halves in my head, Sergio Ramos and Koulibaly, they'll still look like Mustafi in this team. They still will. Yes, their quality will get them through it, and we would allow them, but there's an outlook in defence now, not to praise the lockdown, the lane Spurs, but one thing I rate about Pochettino, obviously he's had more time than Unai Emery. I'm not saying certain things, but and even if you look at Solskjaer's praised for how they're playing attackingly, but defensively they're still woeful. So it's not a quick fix in the defensive aspect. But I just feel, I forgot the point I was going to make. I just feel if you look at Poch, within reason, yeah, people, it doesn't matter if it's Toby, who else they got? Toby, Dyer, Davison, Sanchez, Vertonghen, whoever. It doesn't matter who is in that back four, specific to the defenders. Yes, you'll see a drop-off in quality, and Spurs fans might tell you the difference, but maybe, if you don't want to say this season, definitely of previous seasons. One thing I've admired about Pochettino's side, it doesn't matter who is in that defence. You don't necessarily see a drop-off in quality. Foyth is a bit of a funny one, but even him to a slight degree now. So do you see what I'm saying? That tells you that them Spurs lads, they know what they need to do individually defensively. They know what the team needs to do, and they're proactive defensively. One of the centre halves might think, all right, Trippier's a very attacking fullback. He's gone. Let me cover his space. Then people shuffle across. We don't typically see that, man. And we're very, and it's not that, and again, it's not that we're, people, and myself included, will say that we need better players, we're not good thinkers, this and that, and that's true. But if you look in the attacking mindset, and again, they're different, but if you look in the attacking mindset, these players are the same proactiveness rather than reactiveness that I see attackingly. I don't see it defensively, if attackingly is even a sense. And what I mean by that is, when we're defensively, I've just said that we don't necessarily, people are caught flat-footed, people are not proactive, especially when the ball's on the other side. When it's an attacking move, how many runners off the balls do you see? You see runners off the ball, people coming short, people coming long, telepathic passing, more or less. People know what areas they're going to be in. We know for years that's all we've been doing, so it's almost muscle memory. But if the players can be proactive in that, they can be calculated to sense different runs and calculate these things, then why can't they do it in a defensive aspect? Just generally speaking. Again, I'm not critiquing Unai Emery and stuff and things like that, but I have to ask. I have to ask the question, people. I love my club, did it? And as much as it's his first season, he's kind of got an impossible job. Ultimately, he walked into this role. Ultimately, a coach has to coach. Like, it's all fun and dandy saying to sign better players and things like that. Coach has to coach. It's been 7-8 months. I'm seeing some promising signs, but to keep it 100, by the same degree, I've said we clearly look like an counter-attacking side to a degree, but by the same token, you can't really see what Arsenal's trying to do, what our ethos, we know our ethos historically is, but what our current ethos in regards to our immediate style of players, we don't really know what we're trying to do. At least with Spurs, it's all action, it's commitment. Liverpool, obviously, it's again all action and commitment, heavy metal, as Klopp says it. Pep, you obviously know Pep's ideology. I don't need to go into basics. Chelsea, obviously, with Sarri, has changed a bit, and there's a bit of the debate, but you know it's all about possession and things like that. Unai Emery, you don't necessarily know what he stands for, what he's trying to implement into the team. We know he can be pragmatic. We know he favours, I wouldn't even say he favours a defensive setup, because he does provide attacking quality and he does enable attackers. I just think off topic, one thing that probably shocks him, and he's going to have to unlearn in the Prem, is the pragmatic approach, being a bit too defensive in games. He needs to find balance, being a bit too defensive in games. Probably being a bit too defensive in games when we're winning as well. You look, or we're in positions where we can get something out of the game as well. He probably needs to be a bit more like Klopp, in the sense that Klopp cares if he wins, loses, or draws, but it's you see what I'm saying, people. He enjoys the ride, sort of thing. Because I do think Unai Emery's got the quality. He just needs to marry it together. I believe in Unai Emery. I back Unai Emery currently, until he gives me something different, because he's just joined. I'm seeing partly what he wants to bring into the club in terms of what he wants to do. He's the new manager, so why not be behind him? I'm just offering my thoughts out loud, people, and I'm sure the majority of you are subscribed or regular viewers of me. You know the approach and angle I come with, so you know this already. On that note, though, I'm going to get out of here. People, deluded, stay safe, stay deluded. Deluded Nation, comment, subscribe, and do the rest. I'm out.